we are Rising Fire Productions. We'd want to take this time to kind of review some of our guests in the past have kind of moved on. Christian Walker, who joined us several weeks back with the
Slaughterhouse 5.
Slaughterhouse 5 project. He, of course, has now moved out of town. What night was it? Wednesday? He premiered the Slaughterhouse 5 film in its entirety at the Poplar Lounge over on Poplar Avenue. And there were a number of us in attendance. We were both there.
Yes.
Kent was there. Sarah, your wife, was there. Matt, you showed up. Craig Brewer was there. Ryan Parker was there. Several other people were on hand, of course. And it looked to me as though everybody really enjoyed what they saw.
I quite enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. I was pissed off because I wasn't offended even more than what I thought I was going to be. But
well, you know, with your sensibilities, you are going to be the harder one to offend. And yeah. Christian warned everybody that it would be a little strong here and there. And for the average viewer,
it was a great film. It really was. I enjoyed being there, and I enjoyed being a part of, you know, having Christian here to review it and everything. I'm saddened that he is now gone from town, but you know, got to move on to bigger and better things sometimes.
Indeed. But he gave a nice little speech afterwards where he basically had told the story of what this was. It was something he had wanted to do, kind of called in some favors. You know, he'd done a lot of people's films for free, like all
we
of us end up
mostly
doing.
do.
And he decided it was time to call in that marker on a few people. And he really showed that he's knowledgeable and fairly well versed in his genre, because there was a lot of, I hate to use the word cliche because it worked for the film, it didn't come across cliche.
Right.
But there were those cliche incidences that he used that were just stellar. Oh
yeah, yeah. He was staying more to the slasher kind of film anyway. You know, the real campy slasher film. So, I mean, he did a really good, a great job with it. I was, you know, I won't say surprised, but
I was impressed.
I was as well, and you know, being around some of the people that we were there with and being able to share that with him was, you know, was pretty nice. It was a pretty nice thing to do.
And when someone tells you they're doing a film like that, and they warn you, know, don't be offended, and you know, this is going to be that B-movie drive-in kind of horror, etc., etc. I kind of get a certain expectation that I'm going to laugh more than I'm going to cringe.
Yeah.
And I have to hand it to Christian because although I laughed in moments, my laughter was how well he used what he wanted to do. It wasn't laughing at the filmmaker because it didn't work. It was laughing because, wow, he got it right and it did work.
Yeah. It was, you know, the whole thing was set up right. The shots were great. They all looked really good. You know, we all talk about, within our camp, about, you know, lighting and sound. You know, they make, you know, not only is movie supposed to be a visual, but it's supposed to be an audio thing. And being able, and he put all the right lighting in it. He put the right sound into it. He you know, for, you know, 21-minute short film, he did really well.
He put a lot in it. I remember several months back he was at my place. I think you were there that night, and he was talking to us about music. And, you know, what's he going to do for music? Who can he get? Because he wanted something very non-traditional. And I think that the soundtrack on this, I liked it as much or more than much of the film itself, because it really was really well-chosen moments. I don't remember, unfortunately, the name of the gentleman that scored it for him. But anybody out there who's looking for someone, I would very quickly suggest they find out who this was and get in contact with him, because he did a great job.
The whole film, everything from beginning to end, the score, the edit, everything was great. Was, you know, I can't say it enough, I enjoyed the evening. You know, we didn't get to stay around as long as we liked to after seeing the film, but it was a great film, and Christian, you should be proud of it. We're proud of you for doing it. We're sorry that you're not here anymore, but come back and see us.
Absolutely. We hope he'll at least come back and do some projects with us. If nothing else.
That was the last thing that I said to him right before we left. I walked up to him, shook his hand, and told him it was a great film, and that I still wanted him to be Robert in Nature of the Beast.
Excellent.
So, and he said, just give him a call. He'd be glad to do it. That was a role that he was really wanting to do. He liked, you know, he liked the premise around the role of the Robert character.
And he had the professionalism to tell you up front that he expected to move, so he didn't want to give you a commitment that he would have had to pull out of.
He did, and
which, with everything that's happened to us in the past 6 months, it was really nice to have someone be upfront with their communication.
Yeah, I know. Within the community, sometimes the communication fails. So,
and I mean,
and it is what it is. It is. You know, people have other priorities. You know, I'm not going to say other things to do, but they have their priorities. So, you know, not being able to make it out to a set or something, things come up. So, and I'm, you know, with his, you know, with Christian's professionalism, I knew that he would. Yeah. He wasn't doing it just for.
And I expect we'll be seeing Christian on the screen in films that are going to be coming out of the area in Louisiana where he has moved.
I just found out that the next portion of oh god, now I'm drawing a blank. American Horror Story is going to be shot in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So maybe
we'll see Christian Walker on American Horror Story.
Yeah, that would be great.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
All this talk about Christian, why don't we go ahead and cut away and take a look at the trailer for Slaughterhouse-Five, and I suggest that if you can find it, you get out and see it.
Absolutely.
And hopefully there will be a copy on this shelf in here soon.
Last night, everything was fine.
No, everything has not been fine.
My name is Alex. I wanted to be an actor, but then I got involved in the wrong crowd, the wrong people, made bad choices. I became a bad actor. But then I noticed Rising Fire Productions, and they made me the actor I am today. Since then, I've been able to get auditions and book roles. Thank you, Rising Fire.
If you see the signs of bad acting in yourself or someone you love, please don't wait until it is too late. Call Rising Fire for help today.
I don't know if I've ever seen that. We're back? All right.
You caught us.
Caught us watching TV. All right, that was Slaughterhouse-Five by Christian Walker and Christopher Woolsey-Smith, one of the producers on it. He's a very proud papa.
Both of them are.
He was kind of jumping up and down.
It was funny because Woodsy was a carbon copy of me during Cold Blooded.
He really was. He looked like he wanted to vomit.
Yeah.
He looked like he wanted to jump up and down.
He started sweating, and then when it was done and over with, he was like, God, I'm glad it's over with. I can feel his pain on that one, for sure.
Well, in addition to Christian, one of our past guests, Sam Baer, had gone above and beyond in his production of I Filmed Your Death.
Yes.
He put together a small group from local, and by small I mean it might have just been Charlie Max.
Well, you know, there was I'm
so bad with names.
His partner, the musician that was here.
Was it Josh?
I think it was Josh. I can't.
Everybody's
I'm sorry, Sam. If you guys are watching, we're sorry.
Asbest Films, AZBEST, and you can find them on Facebook as well as is it asbest.com or is it ifilmedyourdeath.com?
I would check out ifilmedyourdeath.com.
It's been so long, and I don't think his little. I think it is too, and I know that on Facebook they're Asbest. I very much suggest you look these up. Sam is a very young director. This is his first big production, and I really think that he is someone that is going to go somewhere. He may be anything from Memphis's next Mike McCarthy to Hollywood's next Spielberg. He is a gifted, gifted young man. He absorbs information like a sponge. He has spent much of his time as a reasonable adult, and along paralleling his interest in making film, in this very building, using it as the school that it can be, and of course, using Matt Martin, you know, his ear and his ideas and knowledge of film to fuel it. They went up to Connecticut, my old stomping grounds, and they spent, I think he said 2 months?
Yeah, it was a couple of months up there filming in that whole location, because that was, if I remember, we've talked to a lot of people since then.
Indeed.
And I've slept a couple of days since then too, so that was closer to where he's from.
Yes, he's actually from there originally.
Right.
I believe it's his mother came down here, and he comes down here, or would come down here and stay with his mother and his stepfather for periods of time. And in that period of time, he met Mike McCarthy, and a friendship grew out of that. He found out that Mike was a filmmaker. He was fascinated. I actually met Sam on the set of Cigarette Girl. And as a side note, we should be having Mike McCarthy on the show here in a couple of weeks, and I believe that Cigarette Girl, and I might be misspeaking, so don't hold me to this, but I believe we are actually going to finally see a DVD release of Cigarette Girl.
Wow, that's been, what, 2001?
2007.
Yours was, I'm sorry.
When we filmed it.
The Morning Ritual was 2001. Yeah. So, yeah, 2008, 2009 for Cigarette Girl.
It was filmed in
2009.
2009, okay.
Well, still, yeah.
Still, several years down the road. And we will hopefully, and again, I could be misquoting, but I've seen Corey Dials, who of course played the lead, had a post recently where it was the trailer for Cigarette Girl. And there were comments on it that implied remastering and a potential release. So
I'm excited about that.
I'm very excited.
Excited about that. That should have been a film that should have been out a long time ago.
It is. I'm really sad that more people hadn't seen that film by now.
Right.
Because I really think that is Mike McCarthy at his finest. It steps above and beyond his earlier work, which is a little bit more B-movie camp, more his background. And it tells a more linear tale. It's got more solid performances. The shots are absolutely beautiful. It's just, all in all, to me, the pinnacle of a Mike McCarthy project. Right. And I really think that it's something that deserves to be seen. Off of that tangent, Sam Baer took the opportunity to learn everything he could from Mike, from being on a set, from watching the actors. And he employed that in the making of his own film. But more than that,
he took it way above and beyond, and I learned a lesson from a young filmmaker. Sam did such a great job. He had Michael Horse, Lloyd Kaufman, Merle, Gigi Allen's brother, Merle Allen, in there. He also had
Peter Took.
Peter Took was also in there
from
the Monkees. So, you know, after hearing him talk about being able to get people from different genres of film, television, music, and everything like that, it inspired me. You know, and
it did more than inspire you.
I walked up to Sam one day. We just happened to cross Sam one day. Sam and Charlie Metz. And I had to pull him off the side, and I pulled him off the side, and I shook his hand, and I said, "Man, you have lit a fire underneath me or you stoked it anyway."
Yeah, he very much had an effect.
He did. He absolutely did.
In the way you did everything from then on, from that day to this day, the way you look at a project, the extents you go to find the possibilities, have completely gone to a new level. And with what that did to you, watching that happen in you completely changed me. Yeah. And then we've had that discussion where just seeing the effect that Sam had on another filmmaker brought me back, you know, gave me that extra little bit of nutrition I needed, or nourishment I needed in this industry to feel that passion again.
Well, it taught me that nobody's approachable. Unapproachable, I'm sorry. It taught me that, and as soon as, you know, we started talking about it, and, you know, I went home that night, and I just sat down and I thought, and I was like, you know, Sam had Lloyd Kaufman in his film. I mean, for those that you don't know who Lloyd Kaufman is, he did all of the Toxic Avengers.
Shame on you, first of all.
Yes, Toxic Avengers, which when I was a kid I loved all the Toxic Avengers.
He basically runs Trauma now.
Yeah, Trauma Films. He is a part of.
Which, ironically, McCarthy's Super Starlet AD
Mhm.
is actually a Trauma release.
Okay.
That's the company he signed on with that one for distribution.
And he inspired me. So for our project, one that I'm directing, Nature of the Beast, I started contacting people and found out really fast that, you know,
And
there's people out there that you can't approach. They might not agree with what you're doing. They
and
might.
the effect that has had on what we're doing with that production
Mhm.
has completely. I mean, you had a solid idea on what you thought you wanted for a cast, and then Sam walked in here and showed you why not just kick down some doors.
Yeah.
And now you've put the script in the hands of Bai Ling.
Mhm.
You have Wayne W. Johnson, who
Signed
is
on.
thoroughly excited about
Yes,
this project.
I've talked to Wayne a couple times about it.
There hasn't been a literal signed on, just
No.
to clarify, but
Verbal sign on.
a verbal commitment and then also a verbal push
Mhm.
to get more attention. I mean, he's posting about this almost as much as we are.
He is, and kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit. I've also been talking to Debbie D, who is in the underground market of what a lot of people would call B snuff films. I mean, they're very, very campy horror films.
Yeah, they're B drive-in films.
Well, they're
basically.
worse than B drive-in films. I've watched a couple of them. You know, I've been in contact with her. Actually, me and we talked a little bit today. She's in that market. She's very large as a screen queen in that market.
Right.
And I've also put some feelers out to another young lady by the name of Carrie Taylor, who is actually another scream queen from the same genre. They've worked. I've also contacted a guy named Beelzebub, who is been labeled the king of all B horror films in that underground genre.
Okay.
So, you know, he's kind of.
I think he's done work with Darian Kane.
I think so.
Some
I
of
wouldn't.
those.
I wouldn't sign off on that saying
I
that.
think that's where I know the name from.
But you know, Sam. You know, and it's all me being able to do that. You know, me being able to contact the people with C. Thomas Howell and
Right.
talk to them, and Sybil Shepherd and so forth and so on. Props all to you, Sam. I mean,
Absolutely.
he's the one that sparked that in.
It never occurred to me to bother because it didn't seem to me that it would be something that could, or would be likely to happen.
Right.
And then he walks in here and he not only found himself a star or a name of some kind,
Mm-hmm.
but he managed to kind of give himself like the ultimate hand in poker.
Yeah.
He got someone from Twin Peaks.
That's phenomenal.
Something he was a massive fan of.
Yes.
So there's the personal nerd boy geeking out, I got this guy. As well as you, me, everybody we know, being Twin Peaks fans,
Yes.
automatically drawing us to his films.
And I've cursed another person with it this week. So.
Then he turns around and gets Merle Allen.
That was big to
Which
me
is out of
because
huge left field.
yes, because I grew up on punk rock, and Gigi Allen was. I mean, as weird as Gigi Allen is, I mean, when I heard that Michael Horse and then Lloyd Kaufman, I was like, what the hell?
So you've got a Twin Peaks star who gives you cult status, and you attract a lot of fans.
Yep.
Then you get Merle Allen, which gets you a completely different
Right.
group of cult following fans. And these are both cases rabid fans.
Yes.
They are going to see this movie because these people are in it. Then you turn around and get Lloyd Kaufman.
Another cult classic
Now,
person.
two things genius here. One, the same thing, the cult classic, like you say. Two, this is a man who can sign on and give him distribution.
Yes.
And he's in the movie.
Yes.
So why wouldn't he? So Sam, if you haven't already thought of this, kudos to you, and I hope you end up with distribution on this film because of that, because that's brilliant thinking.
And if it doesn't, Lloyd Kaufman needs his head examined even more than what he already needs his head examined.
So you've got that trifecta right there.
Yeah.
And then he says to himself, how do I get an older audience? And he goes and he gets Peter Took from the Monkees. And now you have this phenomenal mix of characters, of actors on screen, each of which are bringing their own cult following to his product. So he didn't just get a name, or 2 names, or 3 names, or 4 names. He got names that would inherently bring with them an audience. Much like if we are fortunate enough to get Bai Ling.
Well, that's what I thought.
She has a following.
That's what I thought of. You know, Bai Ling has her own following. Wayne W. Johnson has his own following, you know, with the sci-fi, you know, with him being on the Sci-Fi Channel. You know, you have those people that are
well,
into sci-fi.
You got him 2 ways because of the music,
I was saying,
too.
yeah, that's what I was just to say. You know, with everybody that likes sci-fi films, then Wayne also has his music,
Caroline Blue.
Caroline Blue, which that could be a following. And with
the Scream Queens.
With the Scream Queens, they have a huge following. I mean, even with this underground community that they have with these films, huge following.
So, I mean, I'm not trying to show our hand necessarily, and not that we're playing a grand game, but for any of you out there that are actually watching this, if you're filmmakers and you want to up your game in some kind of way, think about things like this. You find someone and you put them in your film. If you can find someone that has an audience of their own and you put them in your film,
you got to imagine the possibilities of what happens. Yeah.
At least a portion of what will become your own audience. Because certain names will draw certain attention. Having said all that, let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer for I Filmed Your Death by Sam Bear.
Dig! I said dig! The picturesque hamlet of Bolton, Connecticut. Your typical New England town. However, under its beauty is a tragic history. Meet young filmmaker Pierce Lindley, born and raised. Perhaps you know Pierce's grandfather, the former trooper of the town, and a beloved public figure. Pierce's friends have just helped him make a movie, and it premieres tonight. Not everyone is happy about it. This could be the best night of Pierce's life, and the only known. I filmed your death. A portrait of today's youth. Always looking for an escape. Always looking for a distraction. Always, I filmed your death! Outside the public access channel, a popular television show personality makes a disturbing discovery when he finds that I filmed your death. 2 intoxicated youths take it to the next level. But when the lights go off, I filmed your death. All of these deaths plus yours, I filmed your death. Not everyone wants to be in a movie.
No. That's not what I wanted, okay? You guys aren't listening to me, okay? I mean, what did you guys just start playing yesterday? Is that what it is? You guys, I mean, come on. I need you guys to be focused. I need more from you guys. I need more passion. I need more...
More cowbell?
What? No cowbell.
Look, guys, I think if we really focus on this last take, we can come up with something that's just out freaking standing.
What? Who was that?
That's Joe, the drummer.
Drummers can speak? Wayne! I mean, what's going on in there, Wayne? I mean, there's not even a solo in this song. I mean, you gotta give me something, Wayne. You gotta give me what I need.
Okay, let's do it.
How come all of a sudden I have a craving for cheese?
Damn straight! Alright, we're gonna get this done. Tonight. Wanna know why? Because SU football's on tonight, and I'm not gonna miss it because of you clowns.
Just another day in every way. Another story that just went the same way. Yeah. I've seen you every day, time and time again. Now I see you and it's more than just a friend. I've seen the light. Flashes before my eyes. Don't ask for reasons why. I've seen the light. You before, girl. Love has got me and I'm coming back for more, yeah. I got these feelings like no other kind. I got a feeling that someday you will be mine, oh mine, oh mine. I've seen the light. Flashes before my eyes. Don't ask for reasons why. I've seen the light. I've seen the light tonight. Flashes before my eyes. Don't ask for reasons why. I've seen the light tonight. Oh yeah.
Yes! That is exactly what I wanted. Oh, you guys did such a good job. That was awesome. That was awesome. Scott, let me hear it. Play it back.
Well, they've blown it so many times, I forgot to push record. One more take?
Alright.
Welcome back.
That was the trailer for Sam Bear's I Filmed Your
Death,
as well as Wayne W. Johnson's Caroline Blue Band performing I Have Seen the Light Tonight. And as we said, Wayne is on board for the role of Jake in the Nature of the Beast project, which we will be filming the last piece of next week.
A week from today?
A week from today.
We are filming
No, a week from tomorrow. A week from yesterday. You're doing
week from
it
yesterday.
Saturday.
Week from yesterday. We are doing the death scene. And
Right.
I've got all my cast together, and glad that I've got Don Myers.
I was going to say, let's give some shout-outs here, because we got some good people working with us on this.
Don Myers is going to be Harvey, which is Bernice's husband, which is Ravana's next-door neighbor.
Right. And in this case, the deceased.
Deceased. She would, Bernice's character will be deceased. We have Keith Goff, who's a actor, has been in Memphis. He lives in South Haven. He's also a South Haven police officer.
Film he was in, Trey.
He was in Trey.
That just had its
Antonio
premiere.
James. Yeah, it was
Wednesday night, wasn't it?
Wednesday or Thursday night. I didn't get a chance.
I think it was Wednesday night, and the film mixer was Thursday night.
Right. He was the lead in Trey. He's going to be the senior detective for this scene. We also have Tarek, which I can't remember Tarek's last name.
Collins.
Collins. We have Tarek Collins, who's going to be the junior detective. Terry Bird is going to be one of the police officers.
On-hand uniform.
Mr. Tankersley, who I've yet to get to work with. I've known Don Myers for a while. I've known Don for a little while. I've met, talked to him on the phone a lot. Love Don. I could sit on the phone conversation with Don Myers and just sit there and enjoy myself forever.
The thing I love about Don is he has so many stories.
Stories to tell.
And every one of them is deeply interesting.
And if you're watching Don, you need to come back here and have a sit down with us.
Absolutely.
Whenever you get a time, send me a text message or a Laz a text message, whatever. We'd love to get you set up to come back on the show. David Tankersley is going to be my coroner.
And I want to let you know, and you already know this, but I want to say it kind of publicly just in case people aren't aware. David Tankersley co-wrote One Came Home. He ran a company called SV2 for a while, which is the reason that my film Words of a Father even exists. He had, I want to say hired, but that's the wrong word. He commissioned me to write a story that we would then record my voice doing the audio version of. And at the conclusion of that, he said, since you're a filmmaker, why don't you turn it into a film? So he has been an inspiration to me. He has been a brother to me, a father to me, a friend to me for the better part of, going on 13 years now. He does not go out and do a lot of acting anymore. He does not go out and work on sets a lot anymore. But he has decided that because of our friendship, this was something he wanted to do. And more than that, next week on this very show, he's going to come in and he's going to sit down, and this is a very uncommon thing for him.
I don't know David very well. I've seen a lot. I've met him a couple of times. I've seen it. I've seen a lot of things that he's been in. Great person. Always has had a kind word to say.
There are very few people I respect more than I respect David.
And I'm excited about. I know it's a small part, but I'm excited about having him on the set of Nature of the Beast, being able, for the trailer shoot, and being able to get a chance to work with him and to work with Don Myers. Even Keith Goff, I've only auditioned for a small role before.
I think you just said one of the weirdest sentences that I've ever heard, or at least implied it. You've never worked with Don Myers.
I've never worked with Don Myers on a set.
I think you're the only filmmaker in Memphis, South Haven, Nashville, and half the other surrounding areas that hasn't worked with Don, because he's in everything.
I have not yet worked with Don yet, so I'm excited about that. I'm excited working with David Tankersley.
Well, you'll be glad to know that Dorv Armour, who you have worked with.
Yes, and have a huge amount of respect for.
Well, he has talked you up, and he has told Don Myers to expect to have a fantastic experience.
No pressure there. So, well, Dorv, he was Ravana's father in the trailer during the church scenes, and that was the first time that I'd gotten to work with Dorv. And he's just a great guy to work with. He comes there, he gets ready. He asks questions. Where I need to be. When do you need me? How long? You know.
I really also like that with Dorv on the set. If you have to, you can be a little bit more relaxed with your actors for a minute or three, because Dorv is every bit an acting coach. If he would want to be.
He could be.
He can make. I mean, look what he did for Rachel.
Yeah, and I was just to bring that moment up when we did some reads with Rachel and Dorv at your place a couple of nights before we actually got onto the to the set for that night, and I told her I had told Rachel, I said, you're going to learn something in this short period of time, and she learned something.
Yes, she did.
She learned something really quick, and poor Rachel, when she was on set that night, she was sick. She was extremely sick that night.
I remember she didn't feel.
She didn't feel well at all, and she still brought everything that she could to that scene that night, and we worked her that night. Oh well, and I tried. I had intended on working her even more, but I went and sat down and cut some of the things out. We could get her out of there at a decent time.
But you did get what you need, and it was a lot of it was because Dorv helped her find the scene.
He did, and he would hear me. A lot of people would maybe take offense to some of this, but he was hearing me talk to Rachel, and he stepped over and he says, "Do you mind if I kind of hang out for a minute?" And I was like, "No, I'm just going over some things with her." And he chimed in and said, "That's good, but let's also try this too." And I was all excited about working with him. Ever since I've met Dorv, I've had conversations with him, and he's been a huge supporter of us.
Absolutely.
He's been a huge supporter of Cold Blooded.
I think it would be a mistake for anybody that has Dorv on set to not allow him
to chime in. Yeah, no, it would be.
The level of experience that he has is phenomenal.
You can come on through. You're not going to bother anything. And
to be able to bring that to a set.
Yes.
You have access to that much knowledge, then you want to take advantage of that as a filmmaker.
I do, and it's great being able to work with Dorv. It's going to be great working with David Tankersley, and it's going to be really awesome working with Don Myers, Keith Goff, as well. Also bringing John Dylan Atkins.
Yes.
Who this whole cast for this last scene I have never worked with.
Well, most of them came to us in a very short window. I
mean,
this whole cast, top to bottom, really, is not your first choice. And I don't mean that in that we wouldn't chose those.
Right.
It was a case of our first choice became pregnant, our second choice became pregnant, our third choice became pregnant, our fourth choice became pregnant. I started worrying about this script.
Yeah, I was going to start passing out condoms as I passed out the script, just and a no parent clause.
And then we got to the point where we were 2 weeks away, and you did not have an actor in place.
Sure didn't.
Everybody in this film has been last minute, and they've all stepped up.
They did.
And I want to add just a little piece of information I've been holding close. It's not anything big, and I have no guarantees. But as you know, I just took on a new job, a day job. One of my coworkers used to be an ambulance driver in Arkansas.
Oh, wow.
And he is in contact with his former employee, and he is going to do what he can to have an ambulance in our driveway.
That is going to be phenomenal.
That one big thing that we're lacking, we might actually be able to put together. And again, no promises, but I'm doing what I can for you.
Well, that's what the case is. You have to beg, borrow, and make promises, and to try to get what you want. But even if you don't get what you want, you still continue doing what you do.
Absolutely.
I mean, I wanted fire trucks and had the opportunity to have the fire trucks, the ambulances, the police cars, and everything like that. But it was just too far away.
It's a lot to coordinate.
It's a lot to coordinate with government officials.
Yeah.
And it was a little too far of a jump. It's 45 minutes away from here. It was that, it was going to be too far for the actors to go, and I was trying to consider them as well.
Yeah.
I try not to consider just us when we do these things.
Well,
I consider everybody, because people are doing this stuff on their own times. They're doing it for free, and I just try to have the consideration.
Let's go ahead and run the teaser
Yes.
we put together, and this was a 30-second or shorter.
It's a minute and a half,
Minute and 30,
yeah.
that's what it was. It's a minute and a half. This was something we put together very quickly. There might be one or two inconsistencies. I can't remember which cut we're looking at this point. But this was put together for the open house and just to help raise awareness.
And to let everybody know that we were
That
doing
we were still
something.
working.
Yeah, that we're still working on it.
There is some stuff in here that will change.
Mm-hmm.
We've reshot some of the things that will be in the trailer. But let's go ahead and take a look at this, and we'll be right back, and we have a very special guest joining us.
Cover his face so that he may not see the light.
It's your first time here?
Is that obvious?
What's your name, sweetie?
My name's Robert.
Oh my god, you're burning up.
I want more. Give me more. Solitary without lights.
All right. Sorry for the interruption there. We had a minor technical dropout. Please pick up where you were.
The first year we had 9 bands. The second year we had about over 30. And then this year we had like 40 plus. We were like 49 acts.
Wow.
To be honest, it was pushing 50, and I'm thinking that's kind of a lot. We're probably gonna scale it back.
That's a pretty big.
We're trying to give everybody an opportunity, but you know, with these kind of things, we want the bands to have more time to perform. That's kind of what we're talking about now.
So, how do you find each of the bands that you want? Do you use a lot of the local bands, or are you bringing bands from out of town? How do you approach the bands to be able to come and do this event for you?
So Brister Fest, it really grew out of the backyard music scene. The first year, just about every single one of the bands had played at a party on Brister Street before. And then we created the Brister Street Productions company. So we started doing shows after Brister Fest, and bands would contact us about booking. And we've got a pretty solid network now. And people still contact us, and we just kind of see the diversity, because we're big into diversity. We want something for everybody.
Right.
So we really had like reggae, blues, jam, Latin, country, folk, soul, gospel. It was everything. We had dubstep, EDM.
Do you look to Bonnaroo or Lollapalooza or the Woodstock events? Do you look at any of them as inspirations on how to or how not to handle these kinds of events?
That's cool you brought that up, because when I was a kid, I remember watching the Woodstock video. I was in 6th grade when I saw that video, and I'm like, is this real, you know? Is this what happened? This is life, you know? They don't tell you about that in school,
Right.
You know, in music class.
Right.
You know? But, you know, you get the Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock DVD, and you just blew my mind, and I just kind of made it up then. That's what I want to do. I didn't know how I would do it or when I did it, you know, like, because really that first year was just us going for it. We didn't really have a plan. We just knew our outcome, what we wanted it to be.
So I'm curious, what did you actually go into school intending to possibly pursue, or were you not yet declared?
When I went to the U of M, I looked at it for music business, and then I ended up getting into the recording program as a freshman, because I figured, you know, studio recording is a skill.
So what you're doing is a natural progression from your intended studies.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Yeah. I've always known for the longest time that I want to be in the music industry.
Okay. I mean, either way, you still sort of just fell down and landed in a job that you've created for yourself.
Yeah,
and
I definitely created a job.
In many ways, in many ways, dude, that's the American dream.
Yeah.
To create the thing you want to do with your time in your life is massive, and you know that's your energy, your attitude towards it. I think you deserve it.
Thank you.
Kitty Deering, who's a friend of mine and a friend of yours as well, who actually led to you being on the show right now. We just filmed a scene together this afternoon for a film project, and she mentioned you and what it was you were doing. And I was immediately drawn. I was like, absolutely, we want someone like that on this show, because, what was it, 7-8 weeks ago, right before Easter, we had Robert Coletta.
And
Rob's the man.
Yeah,
we've done shows at the MRC.
And it was a beautiful, I mean, we had 17, 18 people in this room. And, you know, we had, names are going to go.
Remain the Same.
Remain the Same, played here.
We had Chad Mortley.
Not Chad.
It's Chad.
It was Clay.
Clay
Marley.
At least
Not Clay Aiken.
Yeah.
But we had all these people come out here, and they played right here. They sat on these couches and played. And that's something we want to extend to you.
Oh,
all these musicians
definitely.
you know.
It was a short notice, but we could bring some bands in.
Another way for all these musicians. Now, Brister Fest is once a year for a couple days.
Hopefully. See, I mean, it's all up in the air. We're talking about maybe peeling it back to one day and do one in the spring, one in the fall, you know.
Okay.
We're going, you know, trying different things.
Well, in addition to that, we offer up this show to any and all local arts.
Cool.
Film, music, fine art, modeling, makeup.
Spoken word.
We don't care, because as far as we're concerned, we started this show as basically an inside the film industry of this city, because we knew a lot of people and we figured we can get them on here, they'll talk about their films and their experiences, and wouldn't that be fun? It very quickly became obvious that musicians, fine artists, craftspeople, all these people, everything they do affects film.
Right.
Because we need costumes, we need sets, we need music in a film, we need art on the walls. So everybody who's doing something artistic has a potential to affect the film industry. So we opened up those doors wider to offer up any kind of an artist to come in here, appear
and
on
be able
the
to
show,
promote yourself.
and that's the whole purpose.
Yeah,
promote yourself.
And we offer it as a free thing for artists to come here and be able to advertise for themselves.
We do not believe in charging.
No, and if you have something like an advertisement or a dates or anything like that, we'd be glad to build an advertisement for you to be able to promote within our show. We do this just to help the artists.
Any the acts that you have that have videos.
Oh, sweet!
We'll bring the videos down and we'll do
Perfect.
cutaways. Like we're gonna cut away here in a moment. We do cutaways throughout the show, basically like commercials, so that anybody that is watching can actually see what it is they do. And then, before we close out, we give everybody the opportunity to give us website information or any other information they may have or want to people out there. So let's say Ryan Parker's and GB Shannon are about to make a movie, and they happen to be watching this show, and they're thinking, we need music for that film. What do we want? And one of your musicians busts out in a song right here.
Right.
It happened to him. Remain the Same played. He turned to me with a big grin on his face. He said, "I just found my song." And sure enough, he's off camera. He pulled them aside and he talked to them, and they're going to work it out. And one of their songs is going to appear in a short film he's doing.
Yep.
And he's going to build a music video for them as compensation.
That's
so
awesome.
you never know what will happen or who might be watching. So we really want them to come in and just spread it out there and let people know who they are and what they do. And we're going to take a cutaway. What else you got up in there for just about everything, right?
Just pick something, Kent, and roll with
Run
it.
something mystery
We
for
got
us.
we got the Brister Fest video on YouTube.
Unfortunately, he has to pull it down and process it.
Download it,
Ustream,
okay.
we do this through Ustream, and it's kind of a iffy situation sometimes.
Yeah.
Some videos play smooth, some videos play choppy. We're really trying to figure out how to make it work because we want this show to be something people want to see.
Right.
And I think probably at times with all the drops we have, it becomes difficult. You got something queued?
I do.
All right. Mystery. Let's go.
Watching while you dance. I heard you got a man. He treat you like a can. If he won't treat you right, let me be your man. And if you ever feel alone, here's the number to my phone. Get the whip and get gone. If you were with me, you would be alone. Hey ma, I ain't trying to be disrespectful, just making sure your man knows that you're special. If he don't, I'm the man for the job. Donald Trump sending packing with his time card. I ain't trying to be the source of no problems, but if you got a couple, I'm surely the man to solve them. The way I see it, he's the one with the issues. Always going out, but he's never going with you. All I'm asking for is one chance. Give me your hand and just give me one dance. I cherish you from your head to your toes, to that little cute nose. You're my little Spanish rose. I'd be obliged if you step outside with me to my whip. We can take a dip, take a little trip, so we can be alone and I can get to know you better. Don't worry about your dude at home, we gon' write him a letter. Watching while you dance. I heard you got a man. He treat you like a can. If he won't treat you right, let me be your man. And if you ever feel alone, here's the number to my phone. Get the whip and get gone. If you were with me, you would be alone.
So what it is, hell, I'm looking for a dime piece of body like Buffy with a face like Beyonce. I'm like Twisted Lover, chocolate D and red bone, tip trend status, aka Nelly syndrome. Hey Mike, you looking good, rockin' Jerry on, jeans on, matching purse with the letters on. Hey ma, I love the way you keep it classy. Hair done, toes up, mommy so jazzy. Hey ma, I ain't trying to knock your man or nothing. I'm mesmerized by your hips while you twerking something. I bet your man can't do what I can. 24/7 shopping sprees, popping rubber bands. Could you see us in the Phantom looking super fly? Got they say this fucking hard when they pass by. I love a diva chick, 5-star queen. Forget about your band, baby, dude's history.
Emma, watching while you dance. Emma, I heard you got a man. Emma, treat you like a can. If he won't treat you right, let me be your man. And if you ever feel alone, Emma, it's a number to my phone. Emma, hit the whip and get gone. If you weren't with me, you wouldn't be alone.
No hesitation, gon' drop to 7 off. You know what I'm talking about, them numbers gon' drop it off. Your boy, he ain't treating you right. He got a thing for the women, he ain't treating you right. Stand up, little shouter, we can hit the low. You wanna keep it 100, we can hit the dough. You wanna dance a little more, we can do it real slow. Don't tell all your friends, better let your boy know. Oh, how he gave up a perfect 10. And now I'ma be your best friend. Getting text on the down low. How she hot and she finna blow. It ain't no limits how it's going down. Cause I got money in the bank now. Gon' pass on over, dawg. Rated X signing out, y'all.
Emma, watching while you dance. Emma, I heard you got a man. Emma, can't treat you like a can. If he won't treat you right, let me be your man. And if you ever feel alone, Emma, it's a number to my phone. Emma, hit the whip and get gone. If you weren't with me, you wouldn't be alone.
Welcome back.
Alright, that was 3MK with Hey Ma. That was directed by Shelby Elwood, and it was a part of the 48-hour music video project. A little over a year ago now, wasn't it? Oh, yeah. And our own Marcus Kent Hampson did the shooting on that. Did you not?
Did you do the edit on it as well? And the edit?
And the edit, okay.
So, there you go.
So, that's a little bit of the local music that's out there. Now, I want to go back over to Jack here with what you're doing. You mentioned that you put together this great network. You've mentioned that you've had this great show and that you may or may not be doing this multiple years. But the one thing that Kitty said to me that really, really perked my ears was what you were just talking about when you first came in off camera, the music exchange program.
Yeah.
To where we can actually get musicians from overseas with whatever their influences might be and bring them here to where they'll interact with our own musicians. What's the story behind that?
I'm not sure how much I should say about it because it's kind of like
Well,
one of those
if it's one of those things
things
where you can't say something
what
about
I can say is that my last semester of college, I did study abroad. I went to the Netherlands for 4 months. I was living there. I met a really cool person named Arlette. She's brilliant, and she actually came over here to the U.S. to work at Brister Fest this year. But talking with her, we've put together a program that we're now developing as far as education and exchange from musicians abroad and here to go there, vice versa. That's what we're working on. It's going to be called IMEEP. It is called IMEEP, the International Music Education Exchange Program. I don't know why it hasn't been created yet. Don't ask me why, because when we Googled it to look for something relevant like it, it didn't exist. So we're creating it now, and hopefully in the next 20 years we'll have, you know, because to be truly international, we want to be all over the world, not just Memphis and Amsterdam, but Memphis music. Y'all know about Memphis. We're starting to hear Memphis, Tennessee, Amsterdam, Netherlands. Our goal is to have the first exchange from the Netherlands to Memphis, April 2014. Then do a fall exchange from Memphis to Amsterdam. And yeah, I mean, it's going to combine live shows. So it's an educational experience. It's a school where anyone that has the talent, you know, they've got the desire to go abroad and experience what that's like, part of like a mini tour, and then we'll have workshops to teach people different things. Could be artist development, it could be copyright, it could be how to plan an event, all of these kind of things we're going to work, or songwriting, anything really. It's the sky's the limit. But right now we're setting that up. imeep.org is the website. It's online right now. It's a work in progress, but
this is
we're doing it.
It is, and it sounds like, just from the expressions on your face and the way that you're setting up when you start to talk about something, you're very passionate about it.
Yeah.
You have a big passion for it. Music is a very important part of my life and your life as well. Anytime that we do anything, you know, whether I'm sitting down writing or I'm planning for my next movie, planning camera angles or something, I've always got my music going, and that's a great thing. One of the other questions that I wanted to ask you: what was it like for you going over to the Netherlands and experiencing, you know, music from over there, and then vice versa, them experiencing, you know, some of the music from over here?
It was just, it expands your mind. Traveling, everybody needs to travel. Go to couch surfing, you know, save up. It doesn't cost that much to go overseas. Thankfully, I was in college, so I could apply for scholarships and stuff. But, you know, call up your friends, see who works at the airport, you know what I mean? Find out, you know, get that cheap ticket and go somewhere and just do it. Like, it'll change your life. So going over there, I mean, I actually studied events production from the people who run Awakenings Festival, which is one of the biggest electronic music festivals in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. And to put that with my experience of running events, just the whole experience of going over there, it was incredible. I couldn't have asked for anything more.
Do you play music yourself?
I do. I play the djembe.
Okay.
I like reggae music. I like a lot of Latin American influence music.
A lot of percussive.
Yeah, the auxiliary percussion it shows up in a lot of that.
I like that you pointed out that the iMeep is new, that no one's done this already.
It doesn't make any sense.
Any sense.
Couch surfing's available.
Well,
the internet.
I'm trying to think. I guess it was early mid-'80s when Peter Gabriel really started breaking the boundaries of world music, and he created a label, and it got a lot of like Fili Kutai from Africa, and a few other people started getting exposure outside of their own environments, and all of a sudden world music existed as a topic or a theme in your record stores.
Right.
And it seems like at that time that would have been the perfect opportunity for what you're talking about. And, you know, you say how it opens your mind and this, that, and the other, and I don't think a lot of people really realize how different music is in other cultures. Yeah. You said something about the Latin and the reggae and all the time. Well, go to the Arab nations, and you get all of that raga? Is that what they call that? Raga singing?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
The up and down lilting in the female voice,
and they do
the floating
tablas,
and you'll hear a lot more high end flute and whistle sound and things like that in their music. And then you go over to China and you hear the dulcimer or something like that. And there is an entire spectrum of music that's not being dealt with because we don't know of these instruments. There's a band I love called Dead Can Dance, where you will hear a Chinese dulcimer and an American guitar, and then she'll be singing something completely off to that, and it's these new mixes of music come together, and you really do create something new and different. You've heard Over, what I played Over.
I have.
There's an Over song I use on my director's reel, and you'll hear these bits of electronica. Then you'll get this real noir-like saxophone. Then you get these low in the mix but thick metal-like metal music, death metal almost, drum rhythms, and all these things happening underneath of that. And it's creating a kind of music that's never been made. And it is because of mixing those cultures and mixing those sounds. And you look at Memphis, I love that you're starting it here. What else started here?
The blues.
Everything.
The blues, rock and
country,
roll.
rock, the hotel industry, the supermarket industry, civil rights. God, I'm probably forgetting several things.
There's probably 10 more that you can count on.
All of these things began in Memphis, and they spread out from Memphis.
Yeah.
And they became Americana. And then once they became Americana, places like Japan started looking at it as pop culture and worshiping Johnny Cash, worshiping Elvis Presley. You know, you go over to Japan and say you're from Memphis, you're going to hear the name Elvis Presley every other second. Oh, you know Elvis play. You know Graceland.
Right, yeah.
You're from Memphis.
You're from Memphis. You must be Elvis. You know, it's, they don't know over there that separation.
Yeah.
So to be able to go there and create that separation, that education,
Education.
to be able to create the education so that now you're humanizing the musicians and creating an understanding between cultures. And, you know, nothing brings people together like music.
Right, I love it. I mean, I kind of look at the music industry. If you're a band, you're going to need a booking agent to get you shows in these different locations. It's just what happens. Bands, 9 times out of 10, I'm not saying there's not any bands out there booking their own tours, because there are, and they're doing good at it. But at the same time, those bands that, hey, let's go to Germany, and let's go to France, and let's go to Spain, I mean, you're going to have to know somebody. So what we're trying to do is take it back from like just bands touring to like it's an educational experience to actually go there and play these shows and build that network where it's a lot easier to put the shows together. Bands don't have to be tied to a major label with their own management and booking agent. You can just sign up and teach yourself. So hopefully, like what we plan on having for bands is that in the time window where you're overseas, we want bands, we're going to encourage bands to book their own shows, because that's, if you're ready for that, take it to the next level. You know, we're just offering what we can offer. The rest is up to you.
Well, you can't handhold everybody.
Right.
I love the fact that knowing you can't hold everybody's hand, you are still putting yours out there to place that foot to get them off the ground. And that says something about you as a person, that you would put that kind of work, that kind of effort, that kind of energy,
that kind of passion,
and that kind of passion behind something that you're giving to other people.
It just needs to be done.
And that is a beautiful, beautiful sentiment. I commend you.
Thank you
very much.
Just met you and already have massive respect for what it is you're doing and the approach you're taking to it.
Thanks. I work hard every day. That's the number one thing you got to do. If you got dreams, don't give up. Just do it. You don't have to think about it. Don't watch TV. Don't play video games. Just read books. You know, pay attention to what's going on and work. Set yourself deadlines. There's all kinds of things. I mean, Black Lodge. These guys didn't do this overnight. They had an idea and they stuck with it. All these videos didn't just fall into their laps. They said, we got to have a horror section. We got to have comedy, you know, and they went for it every day. Like you guys, y'all, hey, let's put this show together. But they didn't just talk about it. We're right here doing it right now. This is live in Memphis. So, I mean, just to anybody out there, if you've got a good idea, don't let anybody tell you it sucks. You know, just if you feel it, do it. Because it's your idea. You were gifted with that. So do it. Thank you.
Jack's soapbox.
And
I say that as a jest, but honestly, I agree with everything you said. So
yeah, I mean, because we've always said this kind of stuff is not made for lazy people.
It's not.
Not at all.
You can't just
not
do it. You can't make it happen if you're going to sit on the couch all day.
This is a hard city.
It's impossible.
This is a very hard city to do anything artistic. I'm sure you've encountered it being the business side of it. There's a lot of red tape, I guess you'd say, in Memphis that musicians, filmmakers,
artists
a lot
in
of other
general,
types of artists face because there are not a lot of outlets
Right.
in this city for. Now, there's a lot of places musicians can play, but you know, I love Beale Street. Don't get me wrong. I don't happen to go down there. If I was in a band, I don't want to go to Beale Street. You're getting a very specific kind of crowd on Beale Street, in my opinion, and they're not there for the music. They're there for the time. They're there for the experience.
Yeah, tourists.
But Levitt Shell.
Oh yeah, Levitt
with the
Shell.
Brister.
Brister Fest.
Fest, thank you. You are actually pulling people out that are coming out for music.
And that's a great place to play.
It is
when
a fantastic spot.
I played there one time before. I was a musician way back when, and it's just a phenomenal place to play.
The energy there.
Yeah, the energy. I mean, I was there all day. I was there for 13 hours, and I mean, just the energy and seeing what those people that run the Shell, you know, how they do things, how they get everything set up. It was an awesome experience, and you know, I can not only besides the movies and everything like that, I get to be able to tell my grandchildren that, you know, so what? It's the Overton Shell. No, it's not so what. It's the Overton Shell.
You get to
no,
say
it's the
where
Overton
Elvis
Shell.
had his first gig.
Yeah.
You get to
if
say
you ever
played
go
the
to
same
Memphis,
stage.
go to the Shell in Overton Park. People don't really know about it. Maybe they need to do some more
It really is
outside marketing to national.
It's one of
about
Memphis's
it.
most
It's a
like
it's like
iconic
a good-
spots, but it
it
really
is.
is sort of
Low
like
key.
on the low down.
Yeah.
Everybody knows about it, but no one talks about it.
Awesome
Everybody knows where it
acoustics.
is. Everybody's
Yeah.
been there.
It was a great place to play. It really was.
And like he said, the history. Elvis, that
The
was his
history,
first
but the
actual
energy.
gig.
You go there and you can feel it. It's like we've talked about moving Brister Fest to, you know, Shelby Farms or Tom Lee Park or wherever,
That would
but
be a shame.
yeah, we're not gonna we're not gonna do
I
that.
like that you're
We've
at the Shell.
thought about it, you know. This is thoughts, but we keep coming back to the Shell.
Well, there
know?
you go.
It's like-
You're going to be, you know, with what you're doing, you could possibly be people that bring the Overton Shell
Back
to that limelight.
Yeah,
Right.
That could
So,
be the
we hope so.
the beginning of it, especially if you start bringing in international talent.
Right.
That in and of itself can become a tourist attraction. Who
That's
you know,
true.
what musician from what country is playing up there today? There's a reason people come to Memphis for Graceland, and
Right.
Elvis has been dead for 40,
No.
50, good
77.
not 50 years, 77,
77.
45 years. I can't do math in my head quick. No, because I wasn't
It's been 30. It's 37 years.
37 years.
Because my brother was born August 16th, 1977.
Right. Okay. Which is the day after.
That's the,
The
day
day of,
Elvis.
excuse me, 'cause
That's
they-
the day of Elvis's death because.
They had to wait.
No, my mom almost had my brother outside because
That's what I'm saying.
she was at the same hospital. So.
Well, in addition to the foreign market, in addition to bringing that to us, in addition to Brister Fest, Kitty mentioned to me that you're organizing something called the Songwriters Group or a Songwriters thing. I think she said it would be Sunday nights. Or was that something separate that she was
I
talking
think that might have been something else.
Okay, because she was talking about actually putting together a local songwriters group.
That'd be cool.
For much the same reason, the cross-pollination, education, kind of helping each other grow as artists and stuff like that. So, you know, that, and if you already know Robert Coletta.
Rob's the man.
You know
much
how much-
love to Rob out
Absolutely.
there. He's a good guy. He works hard. Rob is one of those people who
Yeah, he
works hard
does.
every day.
Robert Coletta and Brandon Knight are two of the hardest
Much
working
respect
men
to those guys.
for what they've done with the MRC, what they've done for some of the local musicians in this town, what they continue to do for music in this town.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody in in the film community, the arts community, period. Our hats are off to you, Robert. I mean,
Yeah.
Robert,
I think it's really going to show in the next 5 years when all these artists that are at the MRC actually
Start
develop
breaking.
and
You're right.
yeah. I mean, not that they're not good. It's just like
I was going to say,
when
there's
when
already
they-
talent
Yeah,
showing,
the
but when
talent.
this had a chance to really,
Yeah.
you know, by having the MRC, they get the chance to actually put their feet on the ground and move forward, not
Yeah.
just sit there and spin, which, like you're saying, as your own
Then
own
you-
manager, doing it out of your garage or your basement, every single step is a struggle. With Rob, he's offering up a space to where they know they can go, and this is what they do. And
Yeah.
that is a fantastic opportunity for a musician to grow. To be able to just go somewhere, have a space where them or their band or however it works for them has a private environment, that there's not going to be the family pet. Mom and dad aren't going to knock on the door. The neighbors aren't going to complain that you're playing too loud.
Yeah, that's crucial.
You have an environment where you can go in and you can do what you do, uninhibited, uninterrupted.
And they've done so much work to that place.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, you know,
yeah.
they've put thousands upon thousands of dollars of work into that place, and you know, those two guys, Robert and Brandon, are two of the best people that are there. I mean, they've even got a recording studio there.
Mhm.
It's separate from the MRC, but
someone
that's what they're trying to make, a place that's 100% in-house.
one-stop.
Yeah, a one-stop.
You can record there, you can play live there, and you can practice there.
Yeah, and they've done, you know, I talk to Robert and Brandon all the time, and what they're doing is something great in this town.
I have a lot of
As
respect
for what you're doing too.
I have a lot of respect for anybody that goes through what, and they probably go through more of it than we do. I know what we go through just to do this.
Right.
You know, we're here mostly every week. We have to figure out who's going to be a guest, and you know, sometimes that falls apart. As you see.
Yeah.
The reason
Timing,
you're here is because we
deadline, all
spoke, what, half an hour before the show's supposed to start. We're on the phone with each other. So there's a lot that you go through to organize anything. And, you know, I see what we do here. I know that Robert Coletta faces that 10, 20 times what we face.
And I'd
Trying to
imagine
keep
for
that.
you know, for something like this year that had almost 50 bands, I mean, that had to be something that was night and day every day.
It had to be unwieldy at
Yeah.
times.
Yep.
That's all you can say. Is
No
yes.
personal time, just always going with something.
It's a sacrifice, but you know what? I do it because I love it and because I care and because I know people are gonna support it. And yeah, it's bigger than me. It's not
It's a
about
labor of
me.
love.
It's about unity. You know,
Yeah,
it's
well,
about culture. Big picture things.
That's kind of what I was saying when I said I respect anybody that takes on something like that, because it isn't about you.
No, yeah.
This is, a lot of people don't realize what ego is. Ego is a necessary part of who we are as people, but it's also a very dangerous thing. You have to feed that ego properly, but you also have to temper that ego. And you have to do that properly. If you don't, you become that asshole or whatever it might be.
Egotistical.
But to do something like that, where you are standing up and you are organizing 50 bands to come out there and perform and have fun and give everybody else a great time, that's not only not about you, but that is 100% you have to set aside you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to dismiss your ego. Because if you
I
don't,
know
you're going to scream at one of those people on the phone.
Yeah, I was just to say, because I know how musicians are. You have, you know, in a typical band, you have 4 people. That's 4 different egos that you have to deal with in every band. So, and then you have to deal with business managers, road managers.
And to put that together for a 1-day, a 2-day, even a 3-day event, to get it all scheduled, to get everybody compliant, to get everybody put together the way you want it put together. If you're going in that with how does this benefit me,
no,
you have just created the world's biggest train wreck.
Yeah, I want to let people know, I'm not sure how long it takes to put this show together that they're doing, but we do a 2-day music festival and it takes months, like over half a year to put something like that together.
Yeah.
Big thanks to all the sponsors, big thanks to all the bands, big thanks to all the staff, all the people that are involved that you just wouldn't see. I'm just here speaking for them. Thank you, all of you. Thanks to Ascendo Media. Those guys have been helping out, guys and gals. Thanks. Thanks to the media. Thanks to like Rock 103, Memphis Made. Thanks to the Memphis Music Foundation. Yep. Thanks to you guys.
It takes an army.
And that's what I'm talking about is
That's
you
like
came
the
on
tip.
this you came on this show and not one moment of this show, even when we've been off camera, not 1 minute of this has been, I'm Jack Simon. You came in and you told us everything you were doing. You told us what's going on. You told us about the Brister Fest. Oh yeah, I'm Jack.
Yeah.
I mean, you have set aside your ego to a point where you're so passionate and fueled for what you're doing that it almost doesn't matter to you if we know who you are. You just need us to know what it is you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of passion.
You'll just find out. You know? That's what I'm saying. We're going to make ripples across the world and the universe.
No, you guys are not going to make ripples. You're going to make waves.
Waves, yeah.
There
We're
you
making
go.
tsunamis.
With the passion that you have, you're going to make waves for what you are doing.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I've been awake since 5 a.m. today, and you just got me energetic.
This is awesome.
Just being around the passion, and that's how I work. And he'll probably tell you this too. When I'm near people that are fired up, I become fired up. When I first met him and saw what he had inside of him, I was starting all over fresh. I was like, this is like day one in film for me. I'm so passionate. I'm so happy to be doing this again because finally I've met someone who has that.
You can share it.
And
Yeah.
It blasts
Synergy.
through both of us. So
Yeah.
exactly, there's a synergy that wraps between us. He gets fired up, I get fired up. I get fired up, he gets fired up. The minute one of us gets down, the other one's like, no, no, no.
Yeah.
So, and that's, that's what you're doing for every one of your musicians.
Yeah. If any time, you're at that point where you're like, I don't know about this anymore, just take a step back and say, wait a minute. Like for me, it's like, wait a minute, I'm planning a music festival. That's pretty cool. And then I can go on.
Yeah.
Or like for you guys, you might get frustrated on set or some actor or some camera guy or whatever, but then you just take a step back and you're like, wait, I'm making a movie right now. Like this is
It's
cool.
very much like that.
And actually that leads me into what I wanted to say next is months and months.
Months.
Work, blood, sweat, tears,
No
stress, sleepless nights. You go through all this to make it happen. Then you have to go through the ordeal that is the event happening.
Producing it, yeah.
Because
that's the fun part.
That's
though.
when the hair gets ripped out. That's when it's like, God, it's not working. When it's all said and done, and you have shut down the event, and you've cleaned, and you're back at your house.
What do you do?
What is that? What's the
because
feeling?
now you have time.
Pass out for a month. What's the feeling?
Man.
When that last act.
Dude,
steps
I'll
off
tell
that
you
stage.
straight up. Last year, after the festival, because the first year was more of like a pilot run.
Right.
It was kind of like, can we even do this? The second year was all about, okay, we know we can do it, let's go heavy production. This year it was, what's the experience? So next year, top secret, we're doing what makes it unique. That's kind of our focus. But last year, after that last band had played, after we had kind of picked up and you're ready to go, man, I broke down. I was just crying my eyes out. And the guy who runs the show came back to me. He's like, Jack, what's wrong? And I'm just like, I'm so happy. It's like,
it's a labor of love
like,
that you consume yourself with.
Yeah.
You get all emotionally wrapped up in it. It's like with one of our films. We work so hard on our films, and when it's done, when the filming's done, and you take those couple of days off, and you go, man, that was a lot of. You go home and you lay in the bed. It's like, man, that was a lot of work. I'm glad it's over with. But 3 days later, I guarantee you, if you're anything like me, I'm ready to do it again.
Again, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
ready to start taking
How
that.
Can you improve?
I'm starting to take that next step to go to the next project.
It's funny with a film. This is a little bit different than probably your event because we spend all that time doing the organization part. In the equivalence, the shooting is the event.
Right.
And we get that done, and we're like, oh, thank God that's done. But then
Post-production.
we have to move it through editing,
Yeah.
and then there's that worst part. We have to put it in front of people.
Oh.
And we don't have glitz and glamour and
Yeah,
music and all
car
this happening in front of them.
explosions,
All we have is the film, and they're going to watch it, then it's going to be over, and then they're going to look at us.
Right.
And I remember my first experience, but his first experience.
Oh Lord,
it was his short film Cold Blooded. We aired it down at the Malco Theater in July of last year.
That's cool.
And I didn't know if he was going to throw up.
I just sit down the whole time.
Or if he was going to run away, or if he was going to jump up and down. I mean, he had all of them. He had the nervousness. Like, man, I don't know if I want people to see this. I don't know what they're going to think.
Right.
Then he had the proud because he had seen it and he likes it and he knows it's good, and he's had, you know, all of us tell him it's good, so he's got that. So he's kind of like, well, it's fine.
Ending.
I really thought there was going to be a point where we're just going to get to the end of the film, the lights are going to come up, and Jamie's not going to be here.
Yeah.
He's just going to have gone out, sat in his car, and just be like this.
Yeah, it's turmoil. It really is. I mean, you know, anything that you do stuff like that, you know, it's turmoil. You have so many emotions. You have so much that you look at it and you go, I've put so much time, so much energy, so much money, you know, times away from my family, times away from my friends, and things that, you know, could be, you know, just having fun, you know.
And somewhere in there, through the process, and I don't know exactly where it is, and it might be different every time, but there comes that moment where you realize, that's it.
Yeah.
That's all I can do at this point.
Yeah.
Now I just have to give it up and watch.
Yeah.
Let it go. And
So-
that gets very unnerving sometimes.
Just allowing.
Just
allowing.
whatever's gonna happen.
Yeah. You know, with Cold Blooded, you know,
It's
being my
severe-
first film here in, you know, in this area and everything like that, and some of the subject matter that was in the film, I was looking for people to start lynching me. You know, so that was the nervousness that I had. But you know, everything turned out great. And when you have those people walk up to you after your Q&As and everything and tell you, "Hey, man, that was a great project. We really like it." And you have the film commissioner pull you off to the side and will not let you go for 20 minutes, praising you for what you've done. That's when it all sits in.
For me, that's the smiles. That's seeing the pictures. That's seeing the Facebook. Oh, I had a great time. I can't wait till the next one. All that.
And I imagine every band has to come up to you at some point along the way and be like, "Thank you, dude."
Yeah, dude. Much love to all the bands, because, like, dude, we put on a music festival with 50 bands with a budget that would. Please support Brister Fest in the future. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know.
It's
what
not
you were...
free.
Yeah.
People ask me,
There
they're
it
like,
is.
"How can you do this?" Like, we work hard to get these sponsors, to get this capital, because it really takes a lot. And I'm a college kid. Like, I didn't have money to just, oh yeah, I'm gonna invest my savings into. No, I didn't.
Probably
It didn't even
paying
exist.
student loans.
Just and yeah, thanks to all the bands, because a lot of them do it just out of love for the idea, showing for the charity, because we've donated over $4,000 in the last 2 years.
And I'd have to say
through
that's
that.
commendable, because
Absolutely.
when I released Cold Blooded, when we did that the first time, every film that we do, we pick a charity.
That's awesome.
And we donate
I love that.
portions if we sell any kind of merchandise or posters or anything like that. We take a portion of that money from those merchandise sales and we donate it. The last 2 times we've premiered Cold Blooded, we sent money to
It's been the Diabetes Foundation.
the Diabetes Foundation.
That's cool.
So that's another thing everybody can do. Pick a charity, support your charity, support your whatever you believe in.
Yeah, I've done it anonymously. I haven't done it as a company just because I don't know all the processes and all the tax things like that. I haven't figured all that out. But what's important is, as you said, to support it. My opinion, and we've had this conversation a number of times, he was the one who geniusly suggested we do a charity. He has diabetes, his family members have diabetes, and most importantly, he lost a friend and brother-in-law to diabetes right before filming Cold Blooded. Sorry to air your laundry on.
Oh, it ain't no big deal.
But it inspired him to put a
benefit
to them, and the minute he mentioned it, it all clicked together in my head. We as filmmakers or as musicians, we ask our community to support us.
Right.
Because we don't get paid. We need to eat. We need to have medical care. We need to have a place to live. So we need our community to support our art and us as artists.
Right.
Now, if I'm asking a community to do something for me, it only seems right that in any way possible, I give something back to that community.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be
not just our artwork.
Right. It
but
doesn't
an
have to
effort.
be, it doesn't have to be a charity. I mean, you can donate to, you can donate to anywhere. Anything that's looking for help for something. You say like the radio stations or
WVL, PBS.
Yeah, Humane Society, whatever it places on your heart to donate to it. it's a good cause. You're going to feel really good about yourself for what you're doing.
Absolutely.
I mean, I didn't do it just to get an ego trip or anything like that.
No,
It was because it was on my heart. I wanted to do it. I wanted to be able to say, hey, I took portions of my film and donated it to a worthy cause. I didn't put it back in my pocket.
And, you know, even if you do want to get cold and clinical and just be business-minded, it's good business to give back to your community, because that's the community your business is in.
Yeah.
That's, you know, no matter what business you are, the community
To
you're
me,
in supports
like,
it.
Brister Fest with Grow Memphis is actually kind of personal, because when we were doing the first Brister Fest in 2011, my sound guy worked in the garden at the University of Memphis. So I kept having to go to talk to him, ask him questions and stuff, and I would meet him in the garden. And then I ended up being like, how did you get this job? You know, it's just volunteer and then start working. So I actually became a worker in the garden through Brister Fest.
Nice.
So that, to me, like learning how to grow food, just what to eat, what not to eat, those kind of things, it changed my life. And I saw the health benefits. And then so Brister Fest brought me to the garden so we could bring others to the gardens through Brister Fest. Yeah, it's a real like full circle thing, how it just like falls in place.
Well, we've been referring to it as basically a grassroots incentive program.
Grassroots.
You know, this is in Tennessee, as filmmakers, we're not given a lot of incentive programs, not good ones, especially independent filmmakers. Now, if you have a film upwards of 250,000 plus, I think it is, there are incentives in place for a film project. But under that, you're not getting much help. So we have taken the philosophy of creating our own incentive, which is we go to a business owner and say, hey, we would like to film or whatever we're going to do in your business, your place of business. We don't have a lot of money. What we can do is X. And X sometimes is make a commercial, X is sometimes make a video.
For 'em. It's just
X
like what I
is
did
whatever.
for Remain the Same.
Yeah.
It's just like what I did for Remain the Same.
It's a trade.
It's a trade.
Trade.
It's one hand helping another.
It's
they're going to help me with my film.
Win-win.
You know,
Exactly.
Remain the Same is going to help me put music in my film. So we as a production company are going to shoot a video for them that's going to help them be able to release it with a DVD. With their CD.
Marketed.
Get it. Get themselves marketed. It's the way everybody should be inside of a community. One hand helping another.
Exactly.
For everybody to grow.
I've personally always hated money as a concept. I really like the idea of a barter, because it inspires you to, whatever the barter is going to be, it inspires you to make it the best it can be that you're capable of. Whereas when you do something for money, you just produce it and sell it. And, you know, we've seen it in mass production. Quality starts going down. The interest of the worker starts going down. I don't want to become that as an artist. I don't want to see that happen to music, which, unfortunately, if you listen to the radio, it's already sounded like it started. So something like what you're doing with music, I think is a key important thing. With the internet blowing up, you know, you go to bandcamp.com and everybody who records music is on there somewhere, and there can be from anywhere. Everywhere on this planet is your neighbor because of the internet.
Right.
With that being the case, and Hollywood has already seen this happen, there was a point in Hollywood where basically 60% of a movie's money was made in America. And then, you know, 40% more would come in over time through sales from the foreign market. Nowadays, 60% of a film's income comes from overseas. Because our films are going more places are into film, more places are watching film. Hell, Romania has an absolutely horrible film world. They're not really producing a lot of work. But there are tons and tons and tons of film productions from outside of Romania going there.
Into Romania.
Other way around? I'm sorry. My bad.
It's all good.
They have these incredible crews that are able to just bust productions. They know what they're doing, and they are massively efficient at it.
There's only about a dozen more operating theaters in the entire country.
That's what it was. They don't have theaters for film. Yet, hundreds of productions come out of there because they have the workers that know what they're doing. Having this mix, having the ability to truly go international, really has the opportunity to break a lot of your artists in ways that
a
traditional
yeah, I
approach
mean,
wouldn't.
it's a new music business, new music industry. Thankfully, I'm alive right now because now it's like we got a whole new garden to plant. You know what I'm saying? It's not controlled. It's not under the grips of the major labels anymore. As much control as they got. And you know, like you said, it's on the radio, but we've got the internet, we've got YouTube, we've got couch surfing, we've got our own Facebook pages and whatnot. It's
so much easier to promote yourself than it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I played music back in 2000, 99, 2000. That was before, you know, I really didn't use the internet.
Before Napster.
Yeah, before Napster, before YouTube, before Reverb Nation and everything like that. You were able to promote yourself. You know, if you're not doing it on a social media, there's somewhere on there that you can promote yourself. You know, even with iTunes, you know, it's easy.
iTunes,
with iTunes and all of them.
It has become possible for both musicians and filmmakers, and this is something I really hope more and more independent filmmakers and musicians will realize and start to embrace, and hopefully over time the proper approach will be figured out. But we no longer need the distributor. Now, right now, in order to sell something to Netflix, you still have to have a distributor. The old-fashioned, you made your movie, you sold it to a distributor, they sell it to Netflix. But that doesn't have to remain the only way to do it. If we can figure out how to effectively, and that's the key word, how to effectively advertise on the internet, then we can distribute our own work. And we don't have to have that middleman anymore taking 60, 70% of the profit. Same with the record deals. Radiohead had a record deal for a while. They made an album, the label released the album, and they got their royalty checks. And on the average, I can't remember the exact math, but on the average, the band members got 2 to 4 cents per CD sale. They decided they wanted to experiment. They recorded an album. It had a release date 1 week prior to that release date. They pirated it themselves on their website and said, here's our new album. Pay for it if you want to. Don't if you don't want to. Give us however much you think you want to.
Yep. Pay what you can. It's the new business model.
When it was done, the band made 20 times more than they would have made through their label release.
You can't charge people $15 a CD. I may have 3 on me. You may have 10 on you. I may not even want the whole CD. You may want half of the CD. But now it's all, you can pick and choose and you can pay what you want. And you know, the people, you may only want half the CD, but you're going to give them $20 because it's your favorite band. And then, you know, or that's why touring is up and festivals are up.
Festivals especially.
Live music people are going back to live music. They're
festivals used to be the way it was done.
Right,
I mean,
that's where musicians, you know, touring is where they made their money off of merchandising and stuff like that. That's where a lot of bands made their
half of them, that's where they wrote and recorded new material.
Yeah.
Pink Floyd was on tour in 71, 72, playing Dark Side of the Moon up to a year before they released the album, because they would go out and they'd experiment with the live audience, what the responses were. Very few people do that anymore. Mars Volta did it for a while, and I think now they've imploded. They've broken up. But there's not a lot of bands that use that model. And now, just this year, I'm seeing even older bands more and more testing out new songs on the road. 1 or 2 new tracks in their set. Tool does it a lot.
Tool, and I think Pucifer does the same way.
Well, yeah, Maynard.
Well, because it's Maynard.
Maynard in general.
But when you brought up what Oasis has done, a lot of bands have started doing that. I know that Birds of Tokyo, which is an Australian band that I mean, on my, you know, on the days that I want something not so heavy, I listen to. They did that with their new album. You know, they released it for like a week or 2, and then after that week or 2, then it went on sale on their website.
Even, you know, I've gone to Pirate Bay a few times. You know, I'll download a torrent or something. And you get on their front page, and About 6 months ago, I started noticing on a regular... See, it used to, you just go to the page and they'd have their little Pirate Bay symbol or some variation. But about 6, 7 months ago, I started noticing pretty much every time I go there, their front page has the normal layout and then a video box.
Mm-hmm.
And every single time it has been a new artist, new album release, and they're releasing it free as a torrent.
Right, yeah.
Right.
On the internet, just putting it out there. And
Well,
they're releasing music that way now.
You know, people putting music out like that, doing it like that, they're going to grab a wider audience.
Right.
Because, you know, let's say that first song that you hear, you know, you're at your buddy's house or something like that, and you hear that song, and you know, it's like, man, that's really cool. But the next 5 songs suck. You don't like them.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, it's, I believe with doing things like that, giving the consumer an opportunity to be able to hear the music and then decide for themselves what they are wanting to listen to. There could be 10 songs on a 15-song CD that you like and you don't like the other 5 songs. You know, a lot of bands are starting to look at things at a bigger picture, and they're, you know, musicians in general are looking at things in a bigger picture and going, how can we do this to help ourselves instead of giving Geffen and Interscope and everything like that the huge chunks of change that they have to give up. I'm not going to mention a name, but I have a friend of mine that was in a very large, well-known musical group, and you know, they promised him everything. They gave him a house, gave him hot rods, gave him motorcycles, you know, luxury cars and everything like that. For the longest time, he thought those were his. Those aren't
recoupable.
Yeah, those aren't. If you don't, if you don't make, if you don't make what they expect you to make,
they take it all.
They take everything back.
Yeah.
So
that's the record business.
You know,
but it doesn't need to be.
It doesn't.
Right.
Well,
and you are on the front end of changing that, as is Robert Coletta.
We're all a part of it.
You're exactly right.
It's a new generation.
It's a new generation.
It really
it's 2013. We're in 2013 right now.
The 21st century is really the way to kind of clean up what we did in the 20th century, because we had amazing bands in the 70s that got screwed out of every penny they made.
Lee Gordon, he was a filmmaker that left from here.
Oh my God, that blues, yeah.
The
blues artist.
The blues artist.
I can't remember
Robert
the name.
Johnson?
Oh, yeah,
It was Robert Johnson.
How could I forget that?
You know, his mother only owns one picture of him.
Whoa.
She has no rights to owning anything else with her son's name on it.
Yep.
And he did a documentary on how Robert Johnson's empire
stole.
Basically stole.
He never saw a dime of it.
No, he never saw.
He had one guitar and I think one pair of pants his whole life.
Yeah.
That's how it happened. We're about out of time. We're about to close down the show. I want to make sure that anybody out there knows exactly what it is you're doing, where it is you're doing it, and all that. So if you could drop us some websites and any other contact information, Facebook pages, anything that you would want the public to know, or how to get a hold of you,
definitely
spit it out there for us.
Yeah, okay. So everybody, world tuning in, please go to bristerstreet.com, go to bristerfest.com, that's the music festival. We're on Facebook at Brister Street Productions. Twitter is Brister Street. That's spelled like Mr., but with a B-R. B-R-I-S-T-E-R space S-T-R-E-E-T. Brister Street Productions. We're local music. Out-of-town bands, contact us if you need a gig here. If you're venues, looking for entertainment. If you guys need any bands for your weddings. What we got coming up, we're doing a Summerween for the 2nd year in a row. It's the original summertime Halloween party. We do it here in Memphis. I can't let any cats out of the bag, but it's going to be a really good show this year.
Can you tell us when it is?
It's going to be August 2nd, Friday, August 2nd. We're going to do it at a warehouse downtown, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be 3 stories, got a rooftop. We're dreaming big for that one. But yeah, we're about to do an Indiegogo for Brister Street. This is actually really big news. It hasn't really been talked about much, but soon we're going to convert Brister Street into a membership-based community where people can support, and then they'll get things like t-shirts, bumper stickers, discounts to all of our events. All of that will be incorporated into a membership. So it's all supporting local music, arts, culture, community service. That's Brister Street Productions. My name's Jack Simon. Thanks to Lazarus and Jamie and Kent and Matt in the Black Lodge. It's been wonderful hanging out with you guys. So that's it. Memphis, Tennessee, worldwide. Thank you.
Well, Jack, I very much appreciate you coming
Thank
out,
y'all.
especially
Thank you
on
coming
such
in.
short
Appreciate
notice.
it.
What you're doing is amazing, and I think it's an absolute necessity in this town, and honestly, every town across this country should be doing this.
Right.
Get people from other nations, get people even state to state. Just get people talking, get the music.
Gonna be big.
Create that little web of contact and that network underneath, and let's kind of lift ourselves up out of the ocean of all the dead fish.
Let's do it.
All right, man.
Thank
you
you
very
so
much
for coming in. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for tuning in. Join us next week. We'll have David Tankersley in here for a very unusual and special interview because he does not conduct these things very often. So be sure to
Excited
join
about
that.
that.
He is a fantastic person. If you don't know David, go out of your way to find out. Find him over at Burke's Books. He'll hate that I told you that. We'll see you next week with David Tankersley. Thank you. We're out of here.
Hey.
Don't ever do that to me again, D.
What, man?
No, I ain't some fucking cash machine where you can get shit for free.
Hey, ain't
D.
like you was in there sweating
No, D,
bullets
I
or
gotta
some
have
shit.
a say in what I
And
do.
you was only
No,
in there
from
for
now on,
half a
I've
minute,
gotta have
man.
a say,
Damn.
D, in what I do.
Look, man, I was gonna give you what you know.
Dick, every time you come
You
in
got
store,
something for me.
D.
You got
Fuck
something for
you,
me.
D. Here, take it.
Hey,
You earned it.
fuck wrong with you, man? This is expensive, motherfucker. Hey, Nola, bring your ass. Nola, don't you do this shit right now. Nola, bring your ass here, man. You ever walk away from me?